Can we be truly good? And what does it even mean to be good? We tell ourselves stories about heroes making sacrifices for the greater good, being truly altruistic. Supposedly that makes us good. If we do something without our own interest, we're good when we put someone else above ourselves. Well, the question is, can we even truly do such a thing? When you look at philosophy, there's this idea that what motivates us is the avoidance of pain and the will, our desire to feel pleasure. And maybe that's what's going on, even if we sacrifice ourselves. When we think about helping someone else, saving others, are we truly altruistic, or perhaps we just fulfill our own desire to be perceived as heroes, saviors? Maybe it's because that desire itself to be good makes us do incredible things, which is kind of weird when you think about it, because you sacrifice your own life. Let's go to the extreme to illustrate this. You sacrifice your own health and sometimes life to you cease to exist. You're no longer here. You're not gonna see what's gonna happen afterwards. And what if the end result is not what you're hoping for? What if your sacrifice does not lead to any better outcome? Is it still good? Is it neutral, maybe? Why is it that we pretend like the loss in itself is positive, morally positive? You're no longer here to experience or to witness anything good. And in a way, that's the thing. That's why it's such a curious case study, because you don't know whether the outcome is gonna be positive or negative. Hell, what if your sacrifice in that extreme scenario leads to even greater suffering? You don't know that. You cannot truly know what's gonna happen after you're gone, and you're not gonna be here to experience it, so it takes away the responsibility. But you can, in your final moments, act as a hero, savior. So is it actually good? Truly altruistic? Because when you put it like that, there are conflicts of these two ideas. On one hand, you are talking about, it's both actually, incredibly altruistic because you're not gonna be here to experience any benefits, to witness the possible greater outcomes that your actions lead to. But at the same time, you're not here to experience any negative consequences of your own actions. And in that sense, it is kinda selfish, isn't it? And just like that, it's not so black and white. And obviously, it will depend on the circumstances, specific context of the situation. And based on that, you can claim that you lost more than was gained. But actually, when you think about it, you're gonna die anyway. Death is inevitable, so when you go ahead and control the narrative of your own actions, the way people will remember you, that is kind of selfish. And I'm talking about such an extreme example, because when you think about things that are truly good, we don't usually think about actions that give us so pleasure or satisfaction, because it seems like the fact that we gain something from it takes away the pure goodness of the action, the meaning behind it. And why is that? Why is it that it feels so wrong to claim that? I mean, it seems like when you are proud of doing something good, being awesome, or claiming that you are based on the goodness that you're doing, people seem to naturally confuse that with narcissism, arrogancy. You know, claiming that you're so full of yourself, the pride, or selfishness. Even though your actions may have the best intentions in the world, maybe as pure as it is possible for us humans. And yet still, the only times when we think about people truly good are the people who are someone contradictory suffering in the same at the same time. I mean, we don't think about a billionaire who lives lavishing extravagant lifestyle, who at the same time helps thousands of people around him, makes a great invention that actually benefit us, pushes that makes the life more comfortable. But what we actually, when we think about the saints, we think about the people who are humble, who don't have that much, people who don't actually financially, physically benefited from the actions, but instead, when you look at the saints in the Catholic Church, for example, because it seems like the most obvious example, you look at people who sacrifice. Why is it that the sacrifice has to be a part of our idea of goodness? Why is it that we need to sacrifice? Why is that that's a requirement for goodness and not a win-win situation? It seems like a win-win situation for is impossible or seen as less good. And I think that what it actually shows us is another thing about human psychology. Our jealousy. Because we can let someone be morally good, better than us, but when they don't experience, when we can feel like their lives, they sacrifice something which is pure, or perhaps we look at what they sacrifice and we look that our life experience is not that bad. At least I don't have to suffer. At least I don't have to experience such a trauma. At least I'm better that way. And the reverse. When you don't have much, when a life is a little bit heavier for you, the experiences, you can tell yourself that, well, I'm sacrificing. And that's basically the whole point of Christianity, for example, as a religion. That is something as well, what Nietzsche called slave mentality. When you don't have much, you suffer, you sacrifice, but at least that makes you good for some fucking reason. When in reality it's not about that. And the fact that you sacrifice doesn't mean that you're automatically good, because if you sacrifice and at the same time you force other people to sacrifice, to suffer when you suffer, it so quickly changes the narrative, right? I mean, if you look at different cult leaders, who would make themselves suffer and tell the followers that they need to suffer as well to be and led to the gates of heaven, for example. Automatically you change your mind because you realize that when you force someone to suffer, it's you when you force someone to suffer, you cannot be truly good. So I guess the end goal does not always justify the action. And like the saying goes, the path to hell is full with good intentions. Because you can do evil with the best intentions in the world, and that does not mean that you're good. So once again, what does it mean to be good? Do we need to sacrifice? Or perhaps we can find some selfish pleasure along the way, and help others, and we can lead to a win-win situation for all. Because what if you build your ego around making others feel good, making other people enjoy life, and that is something that fulfills you, makes you happy. To me it seems like a win-win situation, and something that is actually good, without making any great sacrifice, without torturing yourself or feeling ashamed that you are feeling good about yourself, that you are proud of who you are. Because it doesn't seem to be anything wrong with that. And there's one more thing to talk about when we talk about goodness. It is get the intention of doing something and expect something in return. So when we do something for others and expect even a simple thank you, and the whole action is based on receiving that gratefulness, is it good? Are we good in that situation? I would say that it depends how we feel when we don't receive that thank you, that gratefulness. Because at the end of the day, it's not an action to benefit someone else, but purely to benefit yourself, which can be good. Like I said, if you base your ego around helping others and that what fulfills you, then that is a transaction. And it ends with you. It starts and ends with you. With the fact that you helped. And to be good is not to wait for that reaction. It's not based on other people. So I guess in that sense, being good, it's a little bit more selfish than we think it is. It's not so much about real altruism, about sacrifice, but if we want to be truly good, we cannot base our actions purely on the outcome, on what we receive from others. And it can be just the thought that you did something good for the other person, even if they don't thank you. And most importantly, at the same time, don't think about it as, well, if they don't thank me, it's even better. No, it's not about that, because then you make yourself be a martyr, which is not a good thing for you. However, if you separate yourself from the reaction and from what you get in return, that is what will make you actually good. The moment when you stop caring about that thank you is the moment when you can start being actually good, because you're not doing anything for any validation, from any outside validation, but you're doing it purely based on your own motivation from within you. And that is what actually means to be good.